Are we ready to start? I'm sorry, I missed the on your mark, it's set, go call. Okay. Okay. With that, I will welcome you to the Monday, April 28th, 2025, the Thurston County Mitigation Collaborative, the Executive Committee meeting is meeting today. We'll have a call to order. It looks like we have everyone in attendance. Do we need to do, going to do a roundabout and then introduce ourselves? We'll go and do that. All right, so we'll go ahead and have, let's see, we'll start with you, Emily, and then we'll make our way around the cities. How's that?
Perfect. I am Emily Klaus, Thurston County Commissioner for District 5. Happy to be here, and I can pass it along if that's how we want to do it. I will say I'm joined by some staff. We have Julia Downing and Rebecca Harvey from the county here as well. And I will pass it along to Robert for Olympia.
Yeah, it's Robert Vanderpool, City of Olympia, City Council, and with me is Dr. Braff. I'm not sure, I don't see anyone else off because the screen is so small, but I at least know Dr. Braff is here. Oh, and let's go to Lacey.
All right. Hi, I'm Carolyn Cox representing Lacey today, and I'm joined here by our environmental coordinator, Lindsay Field. And I think that's all of us, right?
That's all of us. Yep. Eileen Swarthout, and I have Alyssa Jones Woods with me from staff as well. So, second item on there is to do is approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 And then we need approval of the previous minute summaries from the January 27th, 2025 meeting.
I will move to approve the previous meeting summaries from January 27th, 2025.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. So now we're going to be moving on to announcements. So do we have announcements, Alyssa? Oh, excuse me. We have public comment. Sorry, jumping the gun here. Public comment. Do we have people signed up for public comment today?
We did have 2 requests to give public comment today. No written, but we have 2 people who would like to give oral comments. So we're going to start with Tom Crawford and then go to Ben Selesky. So Tom, I'm going to let you unmute yourself in just 1 second. All right, Tom, you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Welcome, Tom.
Tom, if you're having issues unmuting, I'll let you work on that and we'll go to Ben and we'll come back to you. 1 second. All right, Ben, you should now be able to unmute yourself and give your public comment.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Nothing too long. I just kind of wanted to share my appreciation for the county support of both the Energize and Solarize programs, for heat pumps and for solar. I know there's a lot of people that are very interested in both of those things and just don't really know where to start. And I kind of see both of those programs, and Solarize in particular, as kind of a consumer protection program as much, if not more, than it is a solar discount program. And it's just really great to have the support of the county and the cities within Thurston County officially supporting and helping promote those programs. And I hope that the county continues to do so into the future. That's all.
Yeah, thank you, Ben, for sharing. So next up, do we have Tom?
1 second.
Okay, I think I got it.
You
Yay,
did.
Tom.
Welcome,
Thank
Tom.
you. Top of the screen
I can
there.
hear you.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much for this time, and Thank you to members of the Executive Committee for your service to our communities as elected officials and for your work as members of the Executive Committee to ensure implementation of the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan. Hope you will join Thurston Climate Action Team at our upcoming South Sound Climate Action Convention on May 17th at the Evergreen State College. I think you all should have hopefully received an invitation to that. If not, you will receive one shortly. And thanks for the support of your local individual jurisdictions for this event, and I hope to see you there. Over the past couple of months, Thurston Climate Action Team staff and volunteers have been involved with your planning and sustainability staff on the comprehensive plan update process. Since this is the first major comprehensive plan update for local jurisdictions since completion of the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan, and because this year a new climate chapter is being included in each municipality's municipality's comprehensive plan, we think this is a great opportunity to include actionable items in our local plans that will meet the goals of the TCMP. That is 45% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions by 2030, 85% by 2050. We hope you will each encourage other elected officials in your individual jurisdiction to call for inclusion of all relevant TCMP actions in this year's update to your comprehensive plan. Also, as a member of the Community Advisory Work Group, I'm aware that the group has recommended community assemblies as a topic for an upcoming Executive Committee agenda item. I'd like to share a few thoughts with you about community assemblies and how I see their possible relevance for our climate work in Thurston County. Over the last few decades, as I'm sure many of you are aware, local governments in Thurston County have wrestled with the problems of transparency, accountability questions and issues, accountability to the public, and so forth. By including community members in local decision-making through mechanisms like community assemblies, especially those who have been marginalized and historically excluded, community assemblies can bring a new vitality and energy along with fresh thinking to local governance and decisions. I think that the challenges presented by climate change and specifically how to meet the goals of the TCMP are a great opportunity to use community assemblies for more direct democratic participation in these decisions that will be critical for our future. So again, thank you very much for your time and for your commitment to climate action in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate you sharing. Right, so
And
now we're on to item. Is there anybody else then that we have that would like
No,
to
I
speak today? Okay,
I was just about to say where that should close this up for public comment.
I just ask that if any of the other members of the public that are here that didn't previously sign up for public comment, if you use your raise your hand feature to let us know that you'd like to speak, just in case anybody didn't sign up and still want to give people the opportunity. And if no one else wants to speak, I just wanted to call out that Stephen Bernath from the CAW has also joined us as the CAW representative for the meeting tonight.
all right, so let's see. So it looks like we'll be going on to our next item on the agenda, or the announcements. So do we have announcements?
I have one, and I know Eleanor has another, and likely the other staff team members have announcements as well. I wanted to formally introduce our new facilitators for the TCMC. Eleanor and Karen are both joining us from EXP, which is the firm that was selected and contracted from a competitive solicitation for these facilitation services. I believe it's our first EC meeting with them, so I just wanted to give the opportunity to say, welcome EXP. And these are the faces and emails that you should be expecting to receive information from outside of the staff team. And then other staff team members, do you have any, or EC members, or Stephen, any announcements?
I have something that I'd like us to consider. On Friday, the Thurston Regional Planning Council is going to be taking a look at whether or not to make changes to the regional transportation plan that would essentially scrub all or most references to DEI, belonging, climate change, bicycle trails, anything that basically that offends the Trump administration. I understand there are groups in the community that are going to oppose this recommendation that came unanimously from the Transportation Policy Board, which is a subgroup of the Regional Planning Council. And so I just wanted to take a quick temperature of those of us in this group to see if you have any interest at all in weighing in on that or not. My personal, well, I can tell you, I'm part of the leadership team for the Regional Planning Council, and the three of us, Eileen was part of it as well, were in big disagreement with the unanimous recommendation of the Transportation Policy Board that we scrub the transportation plan. Reasons being are that we're screwed because we live in Washington State and we're a sanctuary state, and our governor is Bob Ferguson. So they're going to make it as hard on Washington as they can anyway. So why take this? And what they're after is trying to crush DEIB programming. So why do it to ourselves? And why, my feeling, and Eileen and Robin Vasquez can certainly speak for themselves, but is, the principled stand would be to say, no, these are our values and this is our plan. And I think there's going to be a lot of litigation around this, because if they are rejecting grant applications for transportation because the plan might happen to mention equity in it, that is capricious. And the courts tend to rule against that, and overrule the administration on it. So to my way of thinking, taking the principled stand does not jeopardize things more than they are already in jeopardy. But that is just my thinking. I'm one member, and I don't know. So do you all have any interest in talking about this? The TRPC meets this coming Friday, so it's time sensitive.
I think Emily, you've got your hand up there.
Yeah, thank you. So I absolutely have interest in weighing in. I completely agree with you that this compromises our values, and I've kind of thought through this a little bit myself in my position at the county. When we're talking about DEI, and the county has taken a stand, against anything that would scrub DEI from our policies, and we're continuing to keep that language in our documentation for the county. And I think that's really important. So whatever we can do, or whatever, I know we all serve on various boards and commissions, and I'm not quite sure what my role is all the time in signing letters or speaking up, or which body I should be speaking on behalf of. But if this body or any other governmental body has a place in voicing concerns, I'd be more than happy to do that if we want to sign on to a letter, or if I can come give public comment, or whatever mechanism for communicating concerns, I am more than happy to do that. And I appreciate you bringing this to our attention.
Thanks.
Okay, Robert. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm gonna probably speak a little bit on this on Friday, since I both am on Olympia and Intercity Transit, but TRPC rep for Intercity Transit and Olympia's rep on the Transportation Policy Board. But and I don't really have the time to get into the woods about it. And if anyone wants to talk to me about that after, let me know. But my As someone who is on the Transportation Policy Board, but then as someone who didn't realize what I was voting for till after, I'm going to be very pretty direct and pretty frank that part of my frustration is that not everything that we received and at the time of that meeting was accurate. And so a lot of the impassioned push from the chair was accurate, and it wasn't vetted by my staff. And so I probably going to speak against voting for it, despite the fact that I voted for it the first time, because I was not exactly given a very straightforward and honest piece of information that was, in fact, again, not vetted by my staff or vetted by me. I think part of the issue with this particular piece of ask is that it wasn't really ran by anyone before it came to the full board, and it wasn't really didn't have much of a description when it came to the Transportation Policy Board. And so I think that on that alone it feels out of order and potentially a problem. And I will talk more about it on Friday. But yeah, it'll be different for me because I represent two. I get a crack at this twice, but it is quite frustrating, in fact, because what I was told at the time was this would be more or less a thesaurus change of language, but it turns out it was more than that because there was a push to push it through, but at no point was it actually. My staff didn't know it was coming. I didn't know it was coming, and I didn't have enough time to sit with it. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with it. It's kind of ridiculous. I don't want to get into the woods about it because I don't have enough time. I don't have all the time in the world to talk about it, but I'm a little irritated. So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Thank you, Robert.
Yep.
How do you feel, Eileen?
I have to agree. I think that we're dealing, I think, like with fear again, and I think that I don't think we need to react to fear. I think that we just need to stay our course because, like Commissioner Klaus just mentioned, is that it's part of our values. It's who we are, and so to back off of that because we're afraid that we're going to miss out on some funding opportunities that may not come to fruition anyway, because who knows what's happening with the wackiness of decision making at this point. So so I would like to stay the course and not change the language, and so that will be the course that I'll be taking on at the meeting on Friday as well.
So my question to the three of you is, do we want to take a position as the collaborative, the leaders of the collaborative, and submit a letter to the planning council? Or do we want to act as individuals?
Go ahead, Robert.
I would be okay with the letter because when I'm there, I'm going to be voting as Intercity Transit Authority rep. I don't want to wear two hats at the same time while voting. I think it's better. And I will say one last thing. After we voted on this, I talked to my transportation staff and our transportation director and public works director, and they told me that this would gut our projects. And so it's not just a language change or values, hiding from values. It is something that could potentially throw some of our projects under the bus. So I am very much going to say no on a lot of levels, and I want to point that out. I don't know if each one of you were able to talk to your jurisdictions about this, but after I talked to ours late last week, they very much told me that it would gut our projects, some of which that are currently in the works. So
okay, good to know.
Yeah, I hadn't had a chance to share it with our staff yet. I don't know that we have a transportation person that's assigned to TPB because it used to be Mary Heather, and she's not with us, and so I don't know if that Tumblr has appointed anyone yet to represent. So I need to follow up with Brandon on that, Brandon Hicks, our director, and find out, yeah, where we are. So I'd be glad to forward that information as well and get their perspective.
Okay. I can volunteer to put together a letter on behalf of the group and then send it out to you all for comments. And I'll check in with Robin to see if she's comfortable with it because she'll, as the actual Lacey rep, need to be a signatory on it as well. And it's got, there's going to be some awkwardness, admittedly, through this. I mean, like in my case, this is pitting me against our mayor, and all. But I just feel really strongly that we need to take a stand on this and reject the recommendation of the Transportation Policy Board. So, okay.
All right.
Well,
Thank you for bringing that up. Okay.
You're welcome. It's Monday. I'll try to get something out to you by tomorrow afternoon to look at, and I'll get hold of Robin and see where she is on this. And great. Well, thank you for indulging me. This just feels really important, and I think there's a lot of attention being put on DEI, but not as much on climate. And so I think this will help bring this in. And there are other groups that also I think will weigh in on this as well. I had a call over the weekend that the League of Women Voters may join in and some others. So I think we're going to have a rocking meeting on Friday.
Is it in person, or is it in a person meeting this Friday, or is it offline or hybrid? Do you remember?
I think it's hybrid.
I can't remember what's okay. Can't remember
I
what
think this
cycle we're
one's
on.
hybrid.
So.
I may try to go in person though. I'm not sure yet. Anyway, didn't mean to hijack the whole meeting here. So
thank you. It is a pressing topic, so thank you for bringing that up. All right. So with that, I think I'll be moving along on the agenda. So the next item that we have
Oh, so
for
sorry.
committee business. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Eleanor. I'm sorry. Do you want to run this? I can just sit back.
No, so sorry. I had one
I'm
more
sorry, I
quick
can see really-
announcement.
Sorry. Okay, sorry. I'm moving on.
No, you're right too. We're approaching 4:30, so I'll try to be quick.
Yeah, sorry. No. Yeah.
But we're working on scheduling the annual retreat for the TCMC, and we are hoping to get a better idea of the EC members' availability. We've narrowed it down so far based on the staff team and the CAW to 3 possible time slots. All of these would be in the evening during the week. And the 3 that we're looking at so far are Wednesday, June 4th, Wednesday, June 25th, and Thursday, June 26th. So if right off the bat, if people who are in the meeting right now know whether or not those dates are definite no's or definite yeses, that would be helpful. If not, we can follow up offline outside of this meeting as well.
well, I can't make meetings on Wednesdays. Either
That makes it
Wednesday.
easy.
I think the Thursday could work.
Wasn't the first choice a Tuesday, and typically we have council.
It was a Wednesday, June 4th, Wednesday, June 25th, or Thursday, June 26th. So it sounds like the 26th would work for Carolyn. Any other definite no's?
For me, the 26th would work best for me as well. Yeah, I can make things work, but Wednesdays are usually pretty busy, so the 26th would be best for me.
Oh,
Great.
shoot. I have an event on the 26th. I just, sorry. What are the hours of the retreat?
We haven't solidified specific hours. We're just looking at the late afternoon, early evening so far, possibly extending
Mhm.
into kind of the later evening, depending on
Yeah.
availability.
Yeah, my event's from 4 to 8, so
That would probably
I-
overlap pretty much entirely.
yeah, I'm the alternate though, so if it works for Robin,
Yeah.
don't let me hold it up.
Okay.
So I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench in there. I'm not available that week. I'm supposed to be in the Outer Banks. I don't, never been to the Outer Banks. And so that week, and so June 4th would be a better date for myself.
Okay.
I could also make June 4th work if it's going to be in the later afternoon.
Okay.
June 4th, you were saying?
Yes.
Yeah, we have transit authority that night, Robert.
June 4th?
Yeah.
I wonder why that is not on repeating meeting. Okay, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah. First and third Wednesdays.
that's right.
So
Got it. Okay. Well, we will take all this information, look at the calendars and see if we can pinpoint a a date that works for the most number of people.
it's like trying to herd cats. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's just 3 different convening bodies with lots of different schedules. Thank you.
Thank you, Eleanor. I feel your pain. All right, so with that, is there anything else before I scoot along? We good? All right. Okay, so now our next item on the agenda is committee business, and we have officer elections. And so take it away, Alyssa Woods.
Hello, everyone. Per your EC charter, every second quarter meeting of the year, we will hold an election for chair and vice chair who will serve a 1-year term until the next second quarter meeting of the following year. Those who are voted in today must be primary representatives from your jurisdiction, and those that are voted in would take office at the close of this meeting. So at this time, I'll ask if there are any questions before we proceed to asking about nominations. All right, then I'll open the floor for nominations for chair and vice chair.
I would like to make a nomination for Emily Klaus for vice chair.
I can call a vote, or chair, if you would like to call the vote to vote
Okay.
for that, unless there are
Is
any other
anyone else?
nominations for
All right.
vice chair.
Any other nominations for vice chair? Okay, with that, all those in favor of Emily Klaus, or did you want to speak first to this, Emily, or do you want to just get voted?
Sure. Yeah, no, I'll
Okay.
definitely speak to it. I appreciate the nomination. This is one of my committees that I am really proud to serve on. And yeah, I would be honored to have a leadership position. So I appreciate that nomination and I accept it. And I look forward to hopefully serving in that capacity. So thank you.
All right, so with that, we'll have, we have a nomination for Emily Klaus to serve as the vice chair for the TCMC Executive Committee. All those in favor say aye.
I
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
And any nominations for chair?
I will nominate Eileen for chair if she is interested in continuing to serve in that role.
Anyone else? You guys all might change your mind the way I'm so running this meeting right now. It's like, sorry. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate the nomination and would be interested in serving as well. It's Tumwater's turn, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be on the board. It's been a very much a learning experience, and I really appreciate all the electeds and all the community members that are part of this process. And so appreciate the nomination.
Yeah. I'll second it. And Eileen is right. It is Tumwater's turn. Olympia had it for all our formative years, and now it's Tumwater. So
All right, so with that, we have a motion on the floor to approve my nomination for president. All those in favor say aye.
I
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Nay? All right, thank you again for this, and we'll appreciate this opportunity to continue serving. So, all right. So with that, let's move on to our next item on the agenda. We have program updates on the 2024 TCMC regional initiatives, and we will be hearing from Alyssa and Rebecca.
All right, I will go first and start us off here. You guys can see my slides?
Yeah.
Okay. So as you all may recall, there were two main regional initiatives that were chosen by the TCMC for planning in 2024. So Julia is with me here, and the two of us will provide an update on the residential energy efficiency and electrification campaign, and then Alyssa will follow with an update on the home energy score model ordinance. So since the TCMC selected this as an initiative in 2023, the staff team has taken it from a general concept of we'll just say a E3 or triple E campaign, which we called it for a while, to something that is tangible and is now underway right in the midst of the Energize Thurston 2025 heat pump program. This presentation will provide a very brief intro to what Energize Thurston is, an overview of the tasks that we have completed to plan and launch the campaign, a summary of outreach and marketing activities, an update on implementation status, including workshops, applications received so far, and installations completed so far, and then a preview of next steps. So what Energize Thurston is, to bring everyone up to speed, it is a heat pump group purchase program that offers exclusive benefits for Thurston County residents. These include access to financing and incentives, including a group purchase discount of at least 10% on qualifying equipment. It includes education, free site assessment, and streamlined installation from vetted installers. And it offers guidance and customer support throughout the installation process. And finally, a limited number of free or reduced cost installations for income qualified households through grant funds that have been received by each of the partner jurisdictions through the Washington Climate Commitment Act. And the program is supported by a partnership among the Thurston Climate Mitigation Collaborative, the cities of Olympia, Lacey, Tumwater, and Tenino, as well as Thurston County, South Puget Sound Habitat for Humanity, and our qualified and competitively selected installation partners. The program offers two participant pathways: the low and moderate income pathway, which provides grant-funded subsidized installations and is administered by South Puget Sound Habitat for Humanity. And there's two levels there. Low income folks under a certain, it's 80% area median income, are eligible for 100% cost coverage on equipment and installation, and moderate income people with household incomes of 80 to 120% AMI are eligible for 80% cost coverage with a maximum owner contribution of $2,500. And secondly, there's the self-funded pathway, which is available to all households in Thurston County, provides, as I said, a group purchase discount and a total of up to $5,000 in total savings when available rebates and federal tax credits are added in. And again, the free education from the workshops and other benefits of the program. I will just give a little spoiler alert. Julia is going to talk a little bit more about this, but to let you all know that we're now at a point where pretty much all of our grant funding has been spent, which is great. We've made good use of the state funds. The city of Tenino still has some grant funds, but the rest of the jurisdictions have allocated all of the grants to households, and she'll tell you more about that. But we're starting to pivot more into focusing on the market rate, self-funded outreach to those households. So I'll catch you up on the planning activities that we've done since we last presented to the executive committee. Back in, just as a refresher here, this is from the beginning to the green arrow is stuff that you all have seen already. We presented to the EC in October of 2024. So before that, we first brought the phase 1 project plan to the executive committee in the beginning of 2024. We then had an opportunity to partner with other regional jurisdictions in King County and Pierce County to launch the Switches On web platform for Washington, which kickstarted a broader regional campaign about home electrification and was something that could serve as a foundation to build our local campaign on. We then got very busy last, spring and summer in writing up our state grant applications as well as federal grant applications that have not materialized yet, except in the city of Olympia. We can talk more about that, but mostly almost all of our funding is from the state Home Electrification and Appliance Rebate Program, or HERE program at this point. And then we did some background research and stakeholder engagement, which informed the development of the launch and implementation plan that you may recall us presenting in October. So since then, we are going to focus on a little bit on what we've done since then, and we were able to launch the campaign in March. So the first big lift, a complicated lift, was to do all the contracting to stand up this program. And this included several agreements and contracts that needed to be written up and drafted and reviewed by lawyers and everyone and executed by the parties. So the first was an interlocal agreement among all 5 jurisdictions, and we executed that in February. It serves as an overarching framework and designates Thurston County as the lead jurisdiction for contracting purposes. And then each of the 5 jurisdictions with their grant funds had, their own contract for the grant funds. And as I said, City of Olympia was also awarded a federal EECBG grant. That's Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant. And each of those jurisdictions also developed a contract with Habitat for Humanity to serve as the low and moderate income administrator to be a subrecipient of those grant funds. So our partner over at Habitat has been managing 5 different buckets of funding, each of them with 2 types of equipment, heat pumps and heat pump water heaters, and 2 different levels of income. And so kudos to Amanda Schuyler at Habitat for managing all that, because that has not been an easy task, and she's done an awesome job. And then Thurston County developed a request for proposals for Energize Thurston installation services that we put out on the street in the beginning of December and closed on January 10th. We received 9 responsive proposals, interviewed 6 finalists, and chose 4 installation partners and approved those at the end of February. And so these are the 4 partners that we are working with for both types of equipment, heat pumps and heat pump water heaters. We have Resicon of University Place and Sunset Air of Lacey. And then also doing just the heat pumps are Organic of Edmonds and Alpine Ductless of Olympia. And we selected these folks based on their holistic proposal, which included, their overall qualifications and values, alignment with the program goals, as well as their equipment that they chose, their site assessment processes, their technical expertise, and their pricing. And then we worked to negotiate the pricing among all 4 of them to not be exact, because that would be impossible, but to be as close as we could. So we're confident that they're all offering similar types of equipment for very close pricing, and we rotate the participants among them. If a participant wants, a self-funded participant wants to request more than one site assessment from more than one installer, they're welcome to contact us to do that. So, and I think that's worked really well so far. Okay, and then our process for taking in applications, we do all the promotion that Julia is going to tell you about in a minute, get people to the website, which is energizethurston.org. So that's our initial entry point into the program. People can read about it, what the benefits are and how it works. And then they are able to sign up for one of the workshops. And we have 5 in-person educational workshops. We've done 3 of them so far, have 2 more coming. There's also a virtual and on-demand workshop. And after they watch that or attend one of the workshops, then they receive the link to the application. So they apply once they're informed on what they need to know. And then we have worked hard with our partners to develop intake and tracking system where applications go directly into an online system where our partner at Habitat screens them, and then Julia distributes them out and to the installers, and we are able to track them really fine scale through every single step of the process. And it's working great. There was a lot of work to stand this up, but now that once we launched, it was kind of like a breath of fresh air because we could just kind of watch all the systems work. And that I'm going to turn it to Julia to tell us more about outreach and marketing. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Rebecca. Hi, everyone. So as she said, my name is Julia Downing. I have been the Community Energy Fellow supporting Energize Thurston since August of 2024. And my role has largely focused on outreach and marketing and getting people interested in the program and learning about heat pump technology. So I'm excited to share with you all a little bit about our strategies and methods and what we've been able to accomplish and give you the exciting numbers of Energize Thurston. So we were able to work with Angela Kelly, a local design artist, to create our Energize marketing materials, some of which you'll see in a second. They all turned out beautiful. But we ordered about 200 posters to distribute across the county, along with 1,000 smaller Connect cards in English and Spanish to give out at events, different organizations, targeted locations. Other than kind of just general high visibility locations, we really wanted to target community organizations already supporting like marginalized communities in Thurston County. Some of these included the Boys and Girls Club, community centers, senior service centers, veterans hubs, Thurston County Resource Center, and other kind of community groups doing a lot of the work and having those residents who we wanted to hear about this program. So next, we've done about 8 tabling events to date with a few coming up this weekend. Really just hoping to have a face to the program and making sure that people understand, what are the benefits and being able to talk to someone about this. Some of these included the Thurston Conservation District's Native Plant Festival and Sale, which was early in March. I've done a few Olympia farmers markets to, get people excited about it. We had many events during our Earth Day weekend a few weekends ago, and then we'll have a few like South County community markets in the next few weeks. I've also done a few short presentations to community groups, HOAs, and other environmental groups. We ordered 2 street banners for Energize Thurston, and some of these locations included near City Hall in Lacey, just over the main street out in Yelm, on the Capitol Way Bridge by the state capitol. And it was actually just up over downtown Olympia 2 weeks ago. So we also asked our installation partners to support campaign awareness, which included next door advertising, social media posts, targeted mailers to areas that they've done installations before or are currently doing installations, as well as attending a few home improvement shows to, again, spread the word and encourage people to look into Energize Thurston. So the biggest outreach method that we've been able to utilize is PSC, or Puget Sound Energy, our local utility, sent out an email blast on April 7th to about 37 PSC customers in Thurston County. We have a second one scheduled for May 15th, and this was kind of a easy way for us to spread the word to a large portion of people in Thurston County. I was excited to see Ben here today. So he is head of Solarize Thurston, which is a similar program that does a group purchase program for solar panels. So we are excited to partner with them and work with them on marketing just for similar minded folks. And they're doing a very similar program with a similar audience. So we're excited to see our timelines kind of align for both programs. And then using our website to gather information, and then of course jurisdictional social medias has been also very helpful. Next slide. So here are just a few photos of kind of the campaign so far, some fun ones. Top one, that's our banner that we had across downtown Olympia. In the bottom right, you can see that is from our first workshop in Tumwater, where we held it in the high school. We got a really good amount of people showing up to that one. And it was a great space to hold it in too. On the left, that's me at a farmer's market in our ductless heat pump costume, and then a few other with our yard signs around. So it's been fun to talk to people about this program and really get people aware of it. So yeah, some exciting stuff about the program. So to be a participant in the program, participants have to attend an educational workshop, either in person or online. We've had about 586 as of last Friday total workshop registrations and about 430 attendees. So initially, many months ago, we set a goal for 600 attendees, so we're getting there. But a large chunk of those 430 have come from the on-demand workshop. Our first workshop, we saw the picture, but it was at Tumwater High School on March 20th. We had 87 people register and then 68 people attend. So it was a great turnout for the first one. I'm glad we held it in the high school. It's a great space for that as well. The second one, our virtual workshop, we wanted to make it accessible to people who had to stay at home for whatever reason, didn't want to show up in person, made it simpler that way. Hosted that on March 24th on Zoom with 137 registering and 62 attendees. So kind of a big intake in that first week of opening the campaign up to applications. Our second in-person workshop and third workshop overall was in Yelm at the Timberland Library on April 9th, which we had about 20 people attend. So smaller community, smaller size, but it's still a great workshop. And then just our last week, we held a workshop on Earth Day, actually, on April 22nd at the Lacey Timberland Library with about 48 people attending. Next slide. Great. So the workshop recording from our Zoom workshop has been posted for a little bit now on the Energize Thurston website in both English and with Spanish subtitles for people to watch on demand. And ideally to make it a lot more accessible to people who, again, can't attend when we are scheduling our events. We've had 231 workshop viewers for the on-demand workshop. Our next workshops will be in Tenino on May 6th, so next week, and then in Olympia, May 27th at both their respective libraries. Great. So as of last Friday, we had about 304 total applications from 233 unique households. And this really just accounts for duplicated households for those who applied for both a heat pump and a heat pump water heater. 257 of those have been from LMI interested participants, with 47 of those being from self-funded or market rate participants. So clearly a need for more market rate interest, but this is typically what we are expecting. A lot of people want those subsidized and need the subsidized installations. So 214 of those have been heat pump space conditioning units, with 90 being heat pump water heater applications. And so far we've seen 22 completed installations from our program. We'll see a larger number of installations occur in the month of May as people are finishing up their site assessments and signing their contracts. Our total number of LMI or subsidized installations is to be determined as of right now. So we should have a better idea of how many subsidized installations we'll be able to do with the grant funding as more bids come in. So as Rebecca said, for a large portion of the jurisdictions, Olympia, Lacey, Tumwater, and the county, the funds have been estimated to be fully spent, except in Tenino. And Rebecca mentioned this, but Olympia was granted their federal EECBG funding for heat pump water heaters. Their EECBG funding is pretty close to probably being spent. But that was great because we got to take people off the wait list for heat pumps, space conditioning, and it just boosted our numbers too. And we were able to support more people. So all basically LMI applicants are now being placed on a wait list, but we're still accepting self-funded applications through the end of May. Great. So we also want to share a few stories from Energize participants that shared with us really what this program meant for them. So the first one, it says, "Thank you so much for your help and for this program. During the recent heat dome, before we had this heat pump, it got so hot in our house that our cat almost died. Now I feel a sense of safety and comfort knowing that we will be protected from those extremes as hot weather gets more common." Another participant said, "As a Thurston County resident for 35 years, I'm really grateful that I qualified and was selected to be included in the Energize Thurston program. The two main installers were very efficient, helpful, extremely knowledgeable, and friendly during the installation process. I felt secure and well taken care of throughout the transition. You were instrumental in working with me to find the right system for my home. You were helpful, knowledgeable, and always available to answer any questions or concerns I had while I took this new step towards energy efficiency." Great stories to hear. I'll
Right.
pass this over to Rebecca.
You want me to finish it? Sure.
Yeah.
Last slide. Thanks, Julia. So just where we go from here, we are, as she said, continuing to accept applications through the end of May, focusing on that self-funded pathway. LMI pathway applicants will continue to go on a wait list. Hopeful that there will be another round of funding either through the same HERE program or there's other potential grants out there. Once we close the application at the end of May, the installation partners will continue to finish doing site assessments with their customers and do the installations we expect to be done by the end of June. And then we have Julia as her fellowship through at least August, and she's going to pivot to evaluating the campaign, totaling up all those numbers and interviewing stakeholders, team members for, lessons learned and writing up an evaluation report and developing a continuation plan. So doing research into next funding sources that we might look to and considering any related state and regional initiatives that are coming down the pike and make some recommendations for potentially expanding the program to different user groups, maybe renters or different equipment types, or just, other ways we might expand its reach, because we do hope and plan to do this again now that we have all the infrastructure built, and we're looking forward to round 2. So everyone can learn more and apply at the website, energizethurston.org. And that's our update. We'll take questions. Hope we didn't go too much over. We want to leave time for Alyssa as well.
Do we have questions for Rebecca or Julia? I did have one question. Oh, Stephen, go ahead, please, Stephen. Sorry. You need to unmute, Stephen.
Okay. Hey, well, thanks for that presentation, Rebecca and Julia. As Julia knows, I attended the Lacey Timberland Library session. I thought they did a good job. It was great that the installers were there so people could come up and talk to them after the presentation. I hope that now the legislature got a budget done last night, that we can find out fairly soon whether there will be additionally funding in the new biennium starting July 1 or not. But again, thanks a lot for putting this together. I think there's the potential for many, many more people getting onto this as word gets out. And I would hope I encourage us all to continue to talk this up. Thanks.
Thank you, Stephen. Alyssa.
Just because Stephen mentioned it, I wanted to note that apparently in the budget that was passed, there was $30 million allocated for the HERE program, which is a significant reduction from the $80 million that was allocated for it this year, but there is still funding moving forward, and staff is actively waiting, watching, emailing, trying to learn more about how we can get access to these funds to continue the program.
Right. Can somebody remind me what LMI stands for?
Low and moderate income.
Low and moderate income. Thank you.
So I did have a question about the $5,000 for the self-funded path. Does that have a dollar that we can only grant in a certain number of $5,000 applications, or how does that work? I apologize if I missed that part of the process. How does that work for the self-funded? Is there no limit, or is there a limit?
Yeah. Just so I'll take a stab, you can add in Julia, but we have a slide in our workshop presentation we could show you. Julia put together an estimate for both a heat pump space conditioner and a heat pump water heater. So for the space conditioners, which are more expensive, I think the estimate was an average for a ductless system, kind of a smaller, medium-sized ductless system would be like 11,000, the base price. And then the Energize installers, as we said, negotiated a 10% discount. So then that's 1,100 that comes off of it. Then there's Puget Sound energy rebates that some folks are eligible for, depending on what fuel type they're switching from. They have electric to heat pump rebate available now that could be 1,500 or 2,400 if you're income qualified. But I think we use the 1,500 for that calculation, right? And then in addition to that, there's a federal tax credit that's up to $2,000. So that's where the 5,000 came from.
Okay, all right, thank you.
There was one more small PSE rebate of about 600, so added up to around 5,000. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I was just curious. Again, because we know with the LMI that did have, has a finite dollar amount, and so I was just wondering if this had,
so these, yes,
but it doesn't sound like it does.
Would not be limited.
Okay, cool. Good to know. All right. So thank you for your presentation. Oh, Emily, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you. You might have shared this in your last slide when you talked about continuation of the program, but now that we have LMI households going onto a wait list and funding, it sounds like there's funding that's being decreased at the federal level. Do we have a plan or a timeline for when we're going to start addressing folks on that wait list, or is it just kind of in limbo right now?
Yeah, we couldn't provide them anything certain at this point, unfortunately, but I know that there's a CEEP grant, CEEP, that is in kind of in something that Habitat for Humanity is looking into currently. And then there's this state source that Alyssa just spoke to. So we're pretty confident that something will come. We're just not sure exactly the timeline.
Okay.
Those folks are being encouraged, if they would like to, or if they can, to move on to the self-funded pathway and take advantage of that, up to $5,000 discount and financing that the partners offer as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. And I appreciate too that there is a wait list and you're not just turning people away, because that will show the demand as we move forward and we find other opportunities for funding. We can say, we have 100 households on the wait list and, maybe get prioritized for some funding in the future. So I think you and your team have planned well on that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and so now we're going to move along to Alyssa, the Home Energy Score Model Ordinance.
Good evening. We had the two main regional initiatives for 2024. So this is the update on the policy one, which I'm going to shrink the people here so that you see everything. Okay, wonderful. So we followed essentially the same start and end date kind of timeline as the Energize Thurston program. We're back in January 2024. We presented the EC with the project plan. We conducted policy research. We went to the CON, got some feedback. I think we had two separate meetings because we had some robust discussion and we were going through consensus for every decision at that point. We developed a first draft. We did stakeholder engagement, which included focus groups and focused interviews with folks that are dealing with or have a home energy score policy in their jurisdiction, in their state, or if they were the national service providers, we spoke with them as well. From that feedback, both from the CAW and from the stakeholder engagement, we developed a second draft. Then we came to the EC last meeting in January, and you all approved a motion for us to move forward to jurisdiction consideration, which is where we are today. So we are at step 5 of the 5 steps in our interlocal agreement for the development of the home energy score model ordinance. And each jurisdiction is currently at a different stage of considering the model ordinance. So City of Olympia staff has presented at the Land Use and Environment Committee and also a City Council study session in 2025. The City Council action to consider adoption of the model ordinance has not yet been scheduled. In Tumwater is in the process of holding internal meetings about the model ordinance. City leadership has legal concerns about enforcement. The remaining 5% of estimated listed homes that wouldn't be covered by Northwest MLS. If and when those concerns are resolved, they will schedule a work session with City Council, then an adoption hearing. In the City of Lacey, City staff and City Council have placed this item on the 2026 work plan for staff and council. And currently all staff time is allocated for 2025 with the adoption of the comprehensive plan in the City of Lacey. And then our last jurisdiction for this is Thurston County, and county staff have been provided an email brief to the Board of County Commissioners in 2024, but has not yet held a work session with the commissioners on this topic. I made this meme because I found it amusing, because we all wanted this to be a very simple process. That would just be, we all do it together, we pass it together, we do everything at the same time, but one does not simply pass a regionally coordinated ordinance, similar to how one does not simply walk into Mordor. So thanks for letting me be humorous here. What we really have is, we had our initial goal of being linear and aligned, and it would just be start and finish and go. But all the different jurisdictions have different timelines, different things on their work plans. So we're really kind of more of a subway map that are all going in the same direction, but taking different paths to get there. And really the last part of this shorter presentation is that development of the supporting program, which was a future step. It wasn't one of the steps in the ILA, but was the natural next step. That is delayed until decisions about adoption have been made, because it makes a difference how many jurisdictions are part of that. If it's one jurisdiction, if it's 4, if it's 3, how we go about that. And with, for instance, City of Lacey putting this on their 2026 work plan, we may have different adoption dates or effective dates, which also may make it interesting for us when we move forward, if we are able to move forward into the development of a supporting program and the implementation of such an ordinance. So with that, I will stop sharing and see you all again, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Looking for him. Do we have any questions? This is, oh, go ahead, Robert. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we're moving along here in Olympia. All I can do is talk about what I'm doing at my level. So on my subway route, moving along, it seems like I am looking forward to getting this done, and we're kind of waiting. You know, I think the argument I would say is that it's more cost effective if we all do it together. I only represent Olympia, but I think looking at the pricing of this, it works better when we all kind of work on this and when you've all put staff hours in. And so if anyone needs any, I don't know, help, or I'll do whatever I can. So I really think this is a great program, and I'm looking forward to it. So yeah.
So Alyssa, again, so Lacey's will be looking at this in 2026. Olympia's already, you guys are moving ahead as far as adopting it. Do you have a timeline for when that'll be adopted yet for your, or are you still working on that yourselves?
Well, I mean, we've got through the study session. We're all kind of waiting. I don't know if Dr. Braff wants to speak on this a little bit, but I mean, as far as I know, it's just a matter of putting it on our agenda and passing it, but passing it, we wouldn't want to pass it around the same time as everyone else.
Commissioner Klaus.
You asked my question. Unless anyone wants to clarify a little bit more, but I was wondering about Lacey, if it's in their 2026 work plan, does that mean that the soonest possible date that Lacey would join on is in 2026?
Yeah.
Okay. And what does that mean for the timeline and implementation if the goal is to do it all together, but we are accepting the fact that regional coordinated efforts can be a little bit more complicated than we anticipated, but would we be able to move forward with it as the TCMC, or would we want to wait for every jurisdiction to be ready?
There are many different pathways we could take. We could try to coordinate effective dates. We could go the pathway of the pre-approved ADU models where one jurisdiction leads the charge in developing the supporting programs and then kind of back bills other jurisdictions that decide to join on. That's not ideal, but that is another option that I've heard floated. We're in a nebulous place here. And I know as staff, I understand that Lacey can't consider this until 2026, but however we could coalesce and get answers closer to 2026, that would make it easier for us and also make it easier for us to budget our time. If it is that only one jurisdiction decides to pass this, we can do work in other areas while we're not waiting to find out. And Tumwater, we're in a waiting place as well. So I'm not pointing at any particular jurisdiction. But the sooner we learn, the better, so that we can formulate and adapt to a different plan and timeline, so we can hopefully still move it forward. But I will reiterate that the interlocal agreement's last step was considering adoption. The whole time that we've been moving through this, we've been trying to make it clear that it's not required that jurisdictions adopt, but the consideration of adoption is the last step. Ideally, Lindsay and I, I'm sure, as the folks who were leading this particular effort, would love for it to be adopted in all jurisdictions. But there's many different pathways. Many different realities, futures, pathways that we'll have to go to figure out how we adjust and take that subway or walk to Mordor, whichever one it feels like on that day.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Stephen.
So I understand the difficulty of getting 4 jurisdictions to move simultaneously. However, don't we have just one MLS listing for the county? And so if one jurisdiction goes first, how does that affect the actual getting it on the ground through the MLS process? And does that mean we all have to wait until 2026?
My understanding is that MLS, if a jurisdiction, single jurisdiction, which it could be if City of Olympia passes it, that homes being listed within the boundaries of City of Olympia would have that as a required field. It wouldn't be, they have, the example that was given to me was Island County, and then there's a jurisdiction within Island County, and they have similar but different ordinances, but they have similar but different forms that they have required, so.
Thank you.
So let's see, do we have anybody else for hands up? Just checking to see if anybody else had questions. So do we have an action item tonight, or as far as like what you want? Okay, this is all informational. Okay.
Informational, but you all are the champions on your respective governing boards for the TCMC work. So anything that you can do to champion this among your jurisdiction's governing board would be appreciated, so that we can make it to step 5 and consider adoption. But again, we understand that different jurisdictions have different timelines, and City of Tumwater has a big question mark for a timeline right now. So I commend Lacey for having a date in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because yeah, I can see us waiting until like Lacey comes along or something, but I would hope, I'm just thinking, here we are like halfway through our year and trying to figure out, yeah, the timing of this. You talked about pathways. Would that help us to have it spelled out, the different pathways? I don't know if that's part of the documentation you provided for the packet, or if you have that spelled out, if that's even helpful for us. I think the one piece that's probably more useful is trying to address the legal piece of it, I think is, but I don't know. I'm not sure how Olympia's doing it, or what the thoughts are from the county as well. Lacey, what, if they have any initial thoughts on that piece of it as far as the enforcement piece, and have any suggestions or that we could work on that together. So there's language there that could help the rest of us. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, so my argument around requiring, right, is that most housing is sold on through the MLS system, right? Unless you're selling it directly to someone with cash. And so having that form required in the MLS, then all your realtors and whoever else that uses the MLS system will just use that system. That's because that's a standard national system. That's kind of the requirement unto itself. I mean, they could just ignore that, but that would be they would be also not be putting the form together on the list. They just wouldn't be listing their home on in the database, which is any realtor wouldn't want to do that, right? So I think the enforcement is the fact that it would just be embedded into the form. So I mean, this is how I think the Portland, Oregon area does it. So that's just kind of my shtick about that. I'm not an attorney, but our again, I can only speak for Olympia. Our attorney didn't seem to have an issue with it. So it's just kind of, in a weird way, the market enforcing itself. So it would be a benefit to both the realtors and people selling and buying homes. So, yeah.
Well, I think too, Alyssa, we talked about potential legislation that would have addressed this, that would make it a statewide, because we have locally had our, like Kim Piper is on our COG committee, and we've had feedback from our real estate people, and it seems like that it's been positive. I yeah, you're shaking your head, so hopefully we've had some positive comments as far as from those who actually have to have the forms and everything that they'll be using with their clients. So I don't know if we have to wait for the bill to pass. It might be easier, but that's probably not easier, because it's, yeah, trying to get legislation passed. They will get another shot at the short session next year, but that's a long time away. So go ahead.
I will share that I did meet with the bill sponsor, and they did include a language based on our model ordinance in the substitute bill. So if it does come back in the way that it was substituted, it didn't pass this session, but if it does move forward next session, ideally it would use the same language. That would be very helpful to be set up in the same way that we had intended to set it up.
Would you mind maybe in the comments putting the House bill number so that you can see the House bill? So, but I'm sorry, I'm a bill nerd, so I like looking at bills. So.
HB 1015. I don't have access to the chat, but it was 1015.
1015. Okay, got it. Thank you. All right, Lindsay.
Yeah, I just like to add, in terms of Lacey, the decision really wasn't based off of we don't think it's a well-written ordinance or that we are concerned about enforcement. It really came down to resource allocation. Most of CED has been heavily, probably like 95% all in on the comp plan. And it just turned out to be bad timing of the year that we're trying to adopt, because we also by the end of the year have to adopt the comp plan. And so it really was just more of like the staff time that it'll take to get the concerns addressed by council, city management, director, staff on board, legal. But with that said, if if the council wants this by the end of the year, there's always a way for, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, if there's pressure, then obviously you know, we go out to public comment on mid-July for the comp plan. So potentially time could come available towards the end of the year to maybe get this done coming into the new year. But right now, it's just really about staff resources and the time that we have to dedicate to an ordinance. We also have a lot of code updates that are coming out of the comp plan and some housing ordinances that are coming down the pipeline. So it's just been, when it comes to us, it really isn't because our legal hasn't looked at it and said, whoa, this is whatever. It's just staff time.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I really do.
Yeah. And just the
Those
weird
of us-
timing with the comp plan.
Yeah.
I think if it hadn't been during a comp plan year, it would have been, we would have had more time early on to work on it.
Yeah. I respect that. So I know I hate putting one more thing on our poor planners, so because we only have like a handful of them. So Pamela.
Thank you. I wanted to add one point about HB 1015 that I think is important, which is that this was enabling legislation that would have provided a consistent framework for home energy scores across the board, and some programmatic support. But even if that did pass or does pass in the short session, jurisdictions would still need to take action to adopt an ordinance to require it. And develop some, but not all of that supporting program infrastructure in order to make it happen. So it does reduce some of the barriers by streamlining kind of the reporting standard and that type of thing that's developed through it. But there's still additional action that we would need to take, even if the state does pass that.
So from you're saying that we still could go out on our own, that while it might be nice to wait, but we can still be able to venture out on our own on this one without having to wait for legislation to come through. Okay.
That's correct. And then even if we wait for the legislation, then we would still need to take an action. Right. It doesn't just automatically apply. Until,
right, of course.
Correct.
Yeah.
The same amount of work.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay, do I see any other hands up? We feel good about this? We're gonna try to figure out where we are on this. Go back to my team again, revisit this. So, right. So with that, we can move on to our next item on the agenda, which is the delay of the implementation of the 2025 TCMC regional initiative. And we have Dr. Brock.
Thank you. Gonna go ahead and start by sharing my screen here for the presentation. So this is not the first time that you have all seen this. We presented about this during the January executive committee meeting. So it should look a little bit familiar, but I'm going to go through it all again just to make sure we're all on the same page. So the requested action today would be for the executive committee to discuss and ultimately approve the staff team recommendation to delay implementation of the 2025 TCMC regional initiative until 2026. And so you heard a lot about regional initiatives today, so I probably don't need to go into too much detail about them, but just a reminder is that regional initiatives are the work that we do together as jurisdictions, specifically through the Thurston Climate Mitigation Collaborative. It's not comprehensive of all of the work the jurisdictions are doing to address climate change and implement the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan. It's just the work that we do through the process of the Climate Collaborative. And in 2024, the TCMC Executive Committee selected the following regional initiative for 2025. And this was the gap analysis of regional and jurisdictional plans and policies to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the transportation sector by reducing vehicle miles traveled, or VMT. And so we've been referring to this as a VMT reduction gap analysis. And so this regional initiative was selected by the executive committee following our 2024 annual retreat, which was jointly participated in by staff, members of the Community Advisory Work Group, and the Executive Committee. And that regional initiative then kind of piles on top of all of the other work that we're doing as a collaborative. So we broke this down here to give you a sense of what we're working on. So we have our regular administrative and annual activities, like our annual greenhouse gas inventory, our annual report, our annual retreat. And then this year, the other thing that we had on there, which doesn't happen every year, is our administrative updates to the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan. And then also the additional work for the first year of onboarding our new TCMC program administrator and getting them up to speed on all things TCMC and really working out those workflows for how we're going to work together to administer the collaborative. Then we also have several regional initiatives that we started working on in 2024. Well, some of them, I guess, even earlier, but really in 2024, that we're then carrying over into 2025 because they had really logical phase twos that still needed to have work done on them. The first was, of course, Energize Thurston. If you recall, the 2024 regional initiative was to develop the project plan for Energize Thurston, but of course we then wanted to implement that amazing program in 2025. And then similarly with the home energy score model ordinance, there was work done in 2024 to develop that model ordinance. And then in 2025, some of the jurisdictions are now bringing that forward to our councils or working it through our city leadership in various ways. And so there's still work happening on the home energy score model ordinance to get that towards that last step of consideration for adoption. And then so then we had two regional initiatives and we're adding one more, the 2025 one, and then potentially another regional initiative in 2026 if we kind of follow that cadence of adding one new regional initiative each year. And what staff came to the realization of kind of early on in 2024 or really early on in 2025 and late 2024 was that we just didn't have capacity to move forward all of these initiatives at the same time. And so what we're requesting to do is to just push that 2025 regional initiative into 2026 to give us a little bit more space to finish up all of the other projects that we're already working on and then really focus on that in 2026. I will note there are a couple of other pretty big benefits associated with this. The biggest one being is that this would now be aligned with our comp plan update timelines, the comprehensive plan being a really important document that would inform that gap analysis that we're doing. Initially, the comp plan updates were due in June of 2025, so we could have kind of wrapped this work up after that was done, but those deadlines have now been pushed back until December of 2025. So there's really a secondary, really significant benefit of waiting until that's done before we begin this gap analysis so we can fully evaluate what is the full suite of current land use policies in place and VMT policies as we're doing that gap analysis. So we briefed the executive committee previously during your January meeting, and then the community advisory work group during their February 18th meeting. And just to report out a little bit of kind of the general feedback we heard from the CAW during that meeting was, I'd say, generally speaking, CAW members were, like the executive committee members in January, disappointed and frustrated that this project needed to be delayed, but understood the rationale that why staff was making this request for the work plan amendment. So the options today would be to move to delay implementation of the 2025 regional initiative, to not delay the 2025 regional initiative, or take some other action that you all may discuss. And so with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and happy to answer any questions.
Stephen.
Thank you very much. I too am one of the CAW members that was disappointed in this, but this goes back to the public comment we got earlier from Tom Crawford. If you recall, a year ago, Tom and I and others at the CAW wrote a letter to all the jurisdictions as you go through your budget processes, to encourage how we can develop more staff resources at each of the jurisdictions, because now we've had 2 presentations here where basically staff limitations are delaying work moving forward on these things that will ultimately move forward and help us meet our greenhouse gas reduction goals. So I just wanted to make that comment. I understand completely why staff has recommended this, but I also hope that there'll be other ways in the interim we can work on transportation, whether it's through the comp plans or the Regional Transportation Authority or what. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Just wanted to comment that the Thurston Regional, the transportation plan is available for public comment. I believe that it's been released. So as far as that piece of it, you have an opportunity, and you probably already have responded as a made comment, but that one is now live for public comment. So, Commissioner.
Thank you. Yeah, I do have a couple questions. I was looking through the packet yesterday and read through everything, and I will say, just to start, I'm in favor of delaying this to support our staff in the initiatives that they're currently working on, including the comprehensive plan, which I know is taking up a lot of staff time for every jurisdiction. So I am in favor of doing whatever we can to lessen the load on our staff who are already really overburdened in some cases. But with that, I do have some questions just to kind of understand logistically what this is going to look like. So my questions are how much, and it's okay if there's no answers right now. I'm okay with getting answers later. But I'm wondering how much money and time has been spent on a gap analysis so far, whether it's for planning or early stages, whatever we have done. I'm curious to know how many resources have already gone into this. And then I noticed in the packet somewhere, or maybe from the minutes that I was reading last night, that there was funding allocated to the 2025 initiative. And I'm wondering what happens to those funds if we delay this. Would we have to spend those funds, or could we save them for when we work on this, or will we have to return them to whoever we got them from? So those are a couple questions I have.
I think I can answer both of those. So,
Awesome.
so for your first question on how many resources have been allocated, how much resources have been allocated so far, it's pretty minimal. It's really just the work that staff did to scope what would be included within the regional initiative. We hadn't done any work yet to pull together an RFP or hire a consultant to help us do the work. So that's really where the biggest cost would be. So, and the biggest staff time would be once we get that started. So pretty light at this point. Any work that we've done so far will kind of carry over until whenever we do start the project. And then on the second question as to what happens to the funds. So the way that the funding works for the climate collaborative regional initiatives is that the executive committee approves a work plan or recommends moving forward a work plan with associated budget costs for those projects. And then it is the responsibility of the jurisdictions to allocate the funds within their regular budgeting process. And so in this case, the TCMC Executive Committee approved or recommended approval of a work plan and budget for 2025-2026, which included funding for this regional initiative as well as a TBD 2026 regional initiative. So right now, none of those funds have been spent. The funds still sit with the individual jurisdictions. We don't have a kind of a separate fiscal agent that the money would then go to for that work. And so it would be up to and the responsibility of the jurisdictions to then carry over or reallocate those funds to the TCMC for 2026 if they wanted to allocate that same funding or that amount of funding into the next year. And so that's really where this kind of final budgetary approval would come from, is with the 2026 budget and the allocation of funds from each of the jurisdictions.
Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate that. So It sounds like it's not a situation where it's like use it or lose it. It's up to each individual jurisdiction to figure out what they're going to do. Okay, perfect. And then I just have one last thought, and that is the cadence of the regional initiatives. This is probably not a conversation for this meeting, but I'm curious to know later on if there's any appetite for making our initiatives like biennial so that we're not piling so much on at once, because our staff in all of our jurisdictions are doing really great work, and I would hate to overburden them to the point where they feel like they're not getting anything done when they really are working super hard. And so giving that space for people to acknowledge and appreciate like completing projects, I think is important for us to kind of consider as we're moving forward with future initiatives.
Can I just respond to that really quickly? I just really appreciate that you brought that up. It's something that we have talked about at the staff team a little bit, and thinking about that cadence really might make better sense, particularly because so many of our, historically what it looks like is these are 2-year efforts. You spend a year planning and then you need to implement it. And then hopefully it's something that you then need to operationalize so that it keeps going. And then you can turn your attention to something else. And so, yes, we can bring that back to the executive committee to talk about at a future meeting a little bit more and what that might look like.
I appreciate the reminder of how much, not just the things that you're doing for this committee, but the things that you're doing for your own jurisdictions, that we don't see behind the curtain. And so we appreciate all that, the work that's already being done there too as well. Carolyn.
Well, I love this idea that Emily is pitching because it does seem like that we get this momentum and then reality hits with where our staffs are and what our resources are. And so I think that will make a better process ultimately. And I know sometimes it feels like we're idling, but we're really not with this thing. And it is frustrating to me too, but it is what it is. And it's almost cliche to refer to the glacial pace of government, but things really do kind of move slowly. But I feel like as long as we keep moving in that direction, we're going to get there. It just may not be as fast as most of us hoped. That's my 2 cents.
I think too, just from the data that we'll be collecting, it might be more current. Sometimes we will get reports and things that, are a couple of years, the time they got the data and then, created the white paper and things like that. Sometimes you're dealing with data that's, not quite as fresh. So my hope is that by going through this exercise with our comp plans and all and everything being updated, that we'll have, more current data that we'll be able to use for that gap analysis. I don't know. I'm not a researcher, but that's my takeaway.
There you go.
Commissioner.
That was an accident.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. Do we have any other questions about this topic? All right. Do you mind putting the action back up again? Because I don't know that I have it. Or I guess I could just, the recommended action is to today. So we have some options in front of us. If you want to take path 1, path 2, or path 3. So, and it looks like, are we leaning towards path 2? And someone would like to make a motion?
I think we're leaning towards path 1, which is to go ahead and delay the implementation.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. 1.
So
Sorry.
yeah. Oh, no worries. I will go ahead and make that motion to delay implementation of the 2025 regional initiative until 2026.
Okay. Are we a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor of delaying the implementation, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Thank you for that. Thank you for all your work. This is so much getting accomplished here. Let's see. So now we are on to our let's see. We have some call updates here for our next item on the agenda for the call. We hear from our CAW facilitator. Do we have anyone doing the
I
reporting?
think
on
it's
CAW?
Eleanor.
Oh, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Eleanor.
Apologies, sorry, I thought I was, we're gonna hand it off to Stephen to provide updates, on the call. Is that correct?
Oh, you can't hear him right now.
Generally, the CAW facilitator gives the general updates and then the CAW attendee provides any additional information.
Got it. I was not aware of that. I'm so sorry. Sorry, a little bit of a.
It's all right, Eleanor. We're all learning. You're brand
Yeah,
new.
we can still,
You
yeah,
get the
we
newbie
can.
card still.
Eleanor, do you want me to start off?
Sure, that would be great, Stephen. Thank you.
Okay. So at our March meeting, we had a face-to-face meeting. One of the things that we talked about last year was doing virtual all year round. You really didn't get a chance to get to know each other. So we did some team building, and we really appreciated EXP leading that effort. We've got 3 new members. I don't have the names in front of me, but perhaps Eleanor or Karen can help me with that. We had a presentation on how to bring people to efforts, collaborative efforts such as this. And sorry, let me shut that off. Sorry.
Stephen, you
looks like
muted
you've
yourself.
muted.
How did I? Okay, thanks. In one of the upcoming sessions, we're going to be listening to a report from somebody to be determined on how the latest legislative outcomes to see what laws might have been passed or funding passed to help or impact climate change in some ways. Doesn't have to be specific to climate, could also be things that impact climate. So, and how that might impact our work with you. I just wanted to give you all happy Earth Day and happy Arbor Day greeting. I was around for the first Earth Day. I was in 9th grade. So just a little fun fact there. And I'll stop there and see if Eleanor has anything to add.
Yeah, definitely. So I can give you the names of our new members. We have Alec, Ashley, and then Lorenzo is in our youth seat. So we do have a youth representative, which is really great. We also recently had an update from representatives from Thurston County on the recent tree canopy assessment, which generated a lot of good discussion at the April meeting. And then a couple of other things that are coming up is we are going to be talking about workforce development as well, which Tom Crawford is working with us to get that on our agenda in the future. And that should just about wrap us up unless you have any questions.
Okay, well, thank you for that update. I appreciate it. It's nice and being able to recruit 3 new people on the committee. That's awesome. So, all right. So with that, we're moving on to our last item, and that is jurisdiction updates. So we all prepared to brag about what our cities are doing. So let's see. Let's go ahead. Let's start with the county first. So if Rebecca would, or Emily would like to share your jurisdictional updates.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. So I like how you framed it as bragging, because I always love to brag about our staff in this area that work really, really hard. And I feel really lucky to be, part of a team that prioritizes sustainability and community engagement. Like we heard when Rebecca presented the Energize Thurston initiative updates. So lots of exciting things going on at the county. A couple things. We recently had a board work session where some members of the CAW came and talked with our climate team and our commissioners. And I'm just glad that we have opened that channel of communication because, you know, we're here and we want to support the CAW and all of our climate initiatives around the county. So that was one thing that happened recently. We also have been awarded a grant from the Washington Department of Commerce for 2025 Clean Energy Community Grants Program. And this is for a solar plus battery storage system at our Public Health and Social Services building. And these funds are through the Climate Commitment Act, and the amount is not to exceed $1,389,069. So it's a pretty good, substantial amount of funding for the solar plus battery storage system. So that's exciting. Another update, 2 fast EV chargers and 2 level 2 EV chargers have been installed at our Ag Park, or the longer name is Agricultural Business and Innovation Park in Tenino. If you're not familiar with that, you should definitely go check it out. I was thoroughly impressed with the Ag Park and what they've got going on down there. These chargers should be turned on within about a week, and when they are turned on, county staff will email the TCMC list so you know that they're online. And then lastly, the Planning Commission held a public hearing on April 23rd and 26th of the updated county comprehensive plan. And we just really appreciate all the feedback and comments from community members, particularly on the climate change chapter of the comprehensive plan. And the Planning Commission is reviewing suggestions from the public and staff to make recommendations, and public comment continues to be accepted through our website at thurston2045.org. thurston2045.org. And that's all I've got. So thank you.
That was a lot. All right, let's Olympia.
Yeah, I got a few things. So the fire department got a solar grant last year, which would be about for the, I believe it's the Fire Station 1 downtown, 320 solar panels, which is great for our city. It's going to be, installation is starting, it'll begin by early June, be end of July, it will be finished. We also just started, we began at the beginning of this year, work towards priority-based budgeting. Hold on, let's say that. The priority-based budgeting, so instead of your individual line items with your traditional budgeting system, you would be moving towards your areas of service and your outcomes. And so what that means with this type of work we'd be focusing on how that works in our scoring towards our climate goals. They would help kind of create a narrative around what we do as a city with our general budget and our budgeting in general. And yep, let's see. And then last item, we have to say we're working on our climate element of our comp plan. Plan is updating, is coming along well. We are expecting the full draft to be available by early June. So first draft. So moving along. If there's any other details in there. Oh yeah, olympiawa.gov/climate2045. I gotta remember, I gotta put the website in there. Yeah.
Thank you, Robert. Appreciate that.
Yep.
A lot going on there as well. And Carolyn, you're up next.
All right. I'm going to invite Lindsay to help fill in anything I may have forgotten to talk about here. But like the rest of you, we've been working on comp plan. And actually, the first thing we reviewed was the new climate section. We had a recent work session about that. And that's coming along nicely. We've been investing in more vehicle charging stations. We've got one of the new fast charge ones at City Hall, and there's a couple others there. And we have them also at the Regional Athletic Complex and at the Lacey Community Center. And then we broke ground early spring, and we are working on phase 1 of the new 500-acre Cuyo Park. This is out North Carpenter Road way, and it's hopefully going to be open in the very early fall. this will be pretty basic. It'll have some trails, and we've been working with the Disc Golf Association, which is paying for installing an 18-hole disc golf course there. Unfortunately, for phase one, we're going to have porta potties out there because it'll take phase two to actually be able to build restroom facilities and more other features. Which brings me to share too that we have decided to run a ballot initiative on the August primary that would create a metropolitan park district, and that would allow us to do a up to 45%, 45 cents per $1,000 assessed valuation property tax to not supplant, but to supplement what the city is able to do for parks. And I mean, it's been a struggle for years to even get to this phase one on the Cuyo Park, and the RAC is just, there's a desperate need there, and we're growing so fast that it's hard to keep up with the demand. So those things are in play. And Lindsay, would you like to add anything to what I said or correct anything if I got it wrong?
No corrections. The only thing, I think maybe the other jurisdictions have those already, but May 3rd, I think we're doing our Earth Day event at Woodland Creek Community Park. So our public works staff will be doing that cleanup there. And our website. So by mid-July, we hope to have a public draft of the comp plan together. I'm sure we'll be announcing it at that meeting as well, that EC meeting. But if you would like to go ahead and start looking at some of that information, our website is envisiontomorrowlacey.org. Envisiontomorrowlacey.org. So.
Thank you.
Right. All right. And so I'm going to chicken out and let Alyssa do the update for Tumwater. Take it away, Alyssa.
I'm happy to. I just want to note, I saw Commissioner Klaus had her hand up. I didn't
Oh, I'm
know if
sorry.
you wanted
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. I just had a quick question for Lindsay or Caroline about the May 3rd cleanup at the park. I'm interested in joining in those efforts. Do you have a time frame that you could share with us? You're on mute.
Yes,
There
yeah,
you go.
I do. It starts at 10 a.m. and I think it goes to about 1 p.m.
Okay. Is that something that like the community members can join, or is it
Yep.
you've already
Yep,
okay.
you can just show up. You could probably register. In years past, we've done like you can register beforehand, and I think you get like the like a form to fill out, but you can do it on site as well. And it's also the student volunteer cleanup, so there might be a lot of students there because it's in conjunction with the Park Foundation. So, but yeah, you can just show up. I would say if you want to, usually folks start showing up at 9:30. They usually have snacks and things as well, so coffee, water, fruit.
That sounds awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councilmember Swarthout. Give the updates. Work continues on the city's climate element, as well as the development of the city's first bike and pedestrian plan, which is part of our forthcoming transportation element. The next time that I expect the climate element to go to our city council is July 22nd. Currently going through another round of internal reviews. We are nearing completion on the fire station solar plus storage feasibility studies for both of our fire stations in Tumwater. We will actively be seeking grant funding to fund the construction for the library, city hall, and main fire stations at minimum. Ideally, all of them, but we need a new roof on the north end fire station before we put solar panels on it. We're also nearing completion on installing 8 level 2 EV chargers for city fleet electrification. We have a lot of EVs now, and we need more chargers for now and into the future. These should hopefully set us up for the next 2 years of electrical vehicle purchases to make it so that we have ample charging for all of our crews and staff to charge as needed. The city has hired its first urban forester who starts on Thursday. Thank you, City of Lacey, for your wonderful staff member that we stole. I apologize, and I'm also very grateful. Thank you. Our staff worked on TCAT's, worked with TCAT EV Action Group to organize an EV car show at the Thurston County Chamber of Commerce Green Business Awards earlier this month, and that went very well. 2 weeks ago, our city council approved a resolution to pursue maintenance and monitoring of the Davis Meeker Dairy Oak tree as opposed to removal, which had previously been suggested. Work is underway. The last update I had is work is underway to develop a food system plan for Tumwater. The plan is expected by the end of the year. And if you're interested to learn more about the food system plan, please reach out to myself and our planning department. Thank you.
All right. Stephen.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to Tumwater. I attended 2 of their work sessions on transportation and developing their transportation plan on bikes and walking and rolling. And I really appreciated how they invited the community in to help with that. So I just wanted to give them some kudos.
Oh, thank you, Stephen. I sent out an invitation to the running groups, the South Sound running group too, to see if we could get some of our runners there. So hopefully a few of them showed up as well. So we appreciate your voices. So thank you. All right.
Surprisingly good turnout. So it was great. I think people showed up.
Good. Yes, right. This is really good. So, well, let's see. If we don't have anything else, we're now at 5:55, and I just want to thank everyone for their time at the meeting here, and just thank you to our staff for all your hard work, and to those of us who are elected. Sometimes it feels like, it's just like you're just standing in quicksand and just not moving fast enough. And I just want to we just need to remember, appreciate ourselves, appreciate our work, and just that our hearts are in the right place, and that we're working towards these common goals. So I just want to thank all of you for being in there together. And Carolyn, go ahead.
I heard back from Robin, and she's 100% on board for signing on to the letter.
Okay.
To the TRPC. So
Okay.
I will work on that and try to get a draft to you all by tomorrow afternoon.
Right. And with that, thank you, Eleanor and Karen, for our new team that's joined us. Appreciate that. Thank you for showing up your child. Robert, we need to see the baby next time. You can't just like wiggle around with the baby. We need to see baby face. If you don't, I mean, if you're okay with that. So you may not want to have your baby's face on recorded, but anyway, we love babies. So congratulations.
And best to you, Rebecca.
So
Thank
all right.
you.
Best to
Okay,
Rebecca,
everyone.
and you need to come back.
Yeah. So, all right, everyone. Thank you for your work, and we will see you again later. All right. Take care. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Jack.
Oh, so cute.